What's going on, everybody? It's time for
What the hell is this garbage?
That was
the
weird.
tuba broke. The tuba broke. Tubin was in the house and he jerked it too hard and it broke the tuba. ConserVengers episode number 19 coming in hot in less than a minute. We've got some great things to talk about. Kamala Krusty is going to the border. Chicago police officers are finally realizing, why the hell am I doing this job? I've got a great video to share from Occupy Democrats, our favorite page. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is ConserVengers. This is a safe space for conservatives to bitch and complain about everything going wrong in this world, right? That's Soonie laughing, not Kamala, if anybody's wondering, or if anybody watched the last live.
Yeah, because I sound like Kamala. Yeah.
Oh, let's get this show started. I always got to give a shout out to American Snippets for that badass countdown that always gets the blood flowing, get us ready. We've got our crew with us. We've got a special guest. Eric is joining, as well as our typical host, Soonie, and everybody's favorite libertarian, Kaecey, is with us on this episode of ConserVengers. We've got some fun stuff to talk about. Before then, though, start sharing the damn live. Now. Get to the chopper. That's all I got. Guys, what's going on, everybody?
No more Arnold from you.
Hey, get to the chopper. I just became New Jersey Arnold. Hey, forget about it. Hey. No?
You belong on Jersey Shore.
Damn. That was an insult.
I don't get me into the fact that I think that's a phenomenal show now. Today, this day and age, it used to be. Soonie, don't look at me. Do I have to do this again? Did anybody used to watch the old show out of this group? Okay, Eric. Okay, and I'm with you. I did too. Party on, drinking games with Jersey Shore. Do you watch it now? You're muted. I don't know why, but
no.
I'm going to encourage you. So when it came back,
are you going to tell me I have to go back to the Shore reunions? Is what you're about to tell me?
It started like 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. They are full adults. They are literally like you and I. They have evolved just like you and I, and the show is completely evolved. It is night and day difference. You've got Mike Sorrentino, who is legit completely sober. They deal with more real life stuff, shitty girlfriends, addiction, and it is a opposite show to what we remember. And you have their characters.
A little wholesomeness there, huh?
It's honest to God, like people don't give it a chance because they're like, I've grown out of that phase. The thing is, the characters in the show have also grown out of that phase, and it is completely underappreciated as a show. I'm telling you. See, who said it? Who said it? Jessica. It's good now. They're all grown up. It's honest to God.
Man, listen. The last Jersey Shore cast member I seen was Jay Wow, and she was taking her husband through the ringer, being a typical feminist. So I can't fuck with it. I'm sorry.
No, Jay Wow was the weakest link on the show. That's a true story. She's the one that has not grown up, and now that's why she's dating a 24-year-old or 25-year-old. That's honest to God. The funny thing is, everybody has grown up. Not as much Ronnie. Ronnie didn't really grow up, but everybody else has. It's honest to God. I tell you, it's fascinating. I swear to God. So
when you say grown up, do you see like say physically, mentally?
Mentally, like the thing is, they're in the same place that we are now, like legit. And they've obviously had fortune and money. They appreciate all of it. They treat them.
Russo, this is where your Democrat side starts coming out.
Your softy side is showing very hard right now.
And I'm telling you right now that it's all about just equal opportunity for those from the shore. Because just because Sicilians are considered Black Italians doesn't mean they don't get the same and equal rights as all of us, man.
Are you trying to be black? Is that blackface?
No, jeez, no.
That was
I don't have a
clearly
hat
a
on.
Snooki impression.
Since I don't have my hat on, that's my Democrat impersonation for the day.
Hold
Yes,
up.
Jessica, the
What?
situation is now the inspiration. Truth. He has literally zingers all day long. I swear to God, and they're great. Anyways, where are we here? That was a total reversion. I'm gonna ask the audience. So since we've got the logo up, so Anthony did a thing last week. He added to his fun list of trademarks and got a wake not wake. I'm in the process of trademarking it. So we're gonna start out with like a lions not sheep style hat. Go ahead and show Kaecey. Show the hat you're wearing right now. So we're going to do something similar to this. And after a few just iterations, we're going to throw this bad boy on a hat. If everybody likes this, go ahead and hit awake. Go ahead and write awake in the comment box for me. Do me that favor. If you guys can. All right, I was just looking at the comment box. Excellent. So that's it. So if you guys like that, let me know. And there'll soon be a hat in the next couple weeks. The awake hat is also going to be... Oh, Kaecey. Kaecey is... commenting over and over and over again. This is why we can't have nice things. What happened there, Soonie? Soonie looks like she's gassy. Do you have gas? What's going on?
No, I'm a lady. We don't do that. Come on.
Yes, it's called tooting. Tooting, fruiting. Do us a favor, guys. We're under 100, which is rare for ConserVengers. We're right there, though, so I need a little bit of help so we can get started with the show. Go ahead and hit the share button, and if the easiest way to help is hit the thumbs up, the heart, the care, or the laughing emoji. Go ahead and do any of those for me. On the count of 3, everybody put their hands up. 3, 2, 1. Soonie, it was 5.
I'm black. I don't
really
know how
need
to
to
count.
handle
I was
that.
internet.
I was actually
Get
going
an
to make
ID.
that's like a black penis joke is what that was. Like the white guys are holding up 3 and Soonie's like 5. It's always a couple bigger.
Hey guys, Soonie needs reparations. So
Yes.
she didn't get the education we did because we're white. So she can't
man.
Yeah.
or have internet.
Fair.
It was
Or
hard
didn't
out here for a pimp, man. It's hard out here.
She didn't have internet when she was in her first 5 years because there was no internet. In the first
I had internet when it came out, man. That's how black I am.
I was gonna say she's young enough. She might have had internet right when she was able to use it.
You're are you 30? 28.
Yeah.
30.
30.
It was
had
probably
internet.
95 is when 95
Listen, we
is
had
when it was
computers in
available.
school, all right? I used Ask Jeeves. Before there was a Google, okay? We used Ask
That means
Jeeves.
you were already in school, which means it was after you were 5 years old. So stop critiquing my math, bitches. Oh man. I'm going to run this on the bottom of the screen. If you guys ever want to donate to what we got going on, as everybody knows, I'm not a fan of Venmo, Cash App because it's just like you're giving me money and that feels weird. But I do love Patreons. I provide a little bit extra. So become a Patreon at patreon.com/BetheChange USA. You get Motivational Mondays and also discounts on stuff when they come out. And if I ever have time, which I don't know how I ever have any time, I also sometimes do some extra stuff on Zoom. Also, make sure you check out #BetheChange.com/podcast to see all of these episodes. They come out about 3 to 5 days afterwards. You can catch everything from the last couple weeks, including all of Soonie's shows with Matta, as well as the Truth Will Set You Freeze, etc. You can catch the the Michelle episode in part 1 and part 2. So good. Such good stuff.
The internet chatter in the chat right now is pretty great.
Hey, listen. White supremacy is the blame for everything right now.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, Eric Robbins is hitting it on the point right here. At least Axe Jeeves was pretty down the middle politically.
Yeah, man.
Well, we didn't have SEO or algorithms back then.
Yeah, you're right, man. Damn, I feel a little old. I feel old. I'm like, I think about the internet and what it was like when I was a kid, and it's completely different. It's like not even the same.
I had
Just so we're clear, that was
Mario Angel
25 years ago.
Can you guys imagine if we had Ask Jeeves now? It'd be like, excuse me, Ask Jeeves, who is the president of the United States of America? Biden forever. Was
That is
there?
the video I gotta pull up. Did you guys see the video going around Alexa?
No.
No.
I will find it, and it will be.
Find
A
Do you guys remember dial-up? I used to try to sneak on the computer late at night when my parents were asleep, and I would stuff the pillow in front of the, the tower to shut up the dial-up. It didn't work, but I felt like it did.
I used to. This is not internet related per se, but back in the same era. So if anybody remembers, Channel 96 and Channel 99 were the Spice channels that you could watch through the lines on cable. I would definitely. I had a rumor that magnets would cause the lines to draw off the page, so I was able to get like one boob and most of the noise. So that's what I did. Yeah.
Do you not know how those TVs work?
It worked. I was able to draw like a quarter of the screen away. So if they were like banging it out on the right side of the screen, I was good to go. Like I could see a lot of it. Yeah.
We'll talk about some snake oil backstage.
I'm telling you, it worked. It's the old tubes. I don't know why it did that. I have no idea.
I'm just going to hit the button.
I suddenly don't know any of you. I've never been associated. This is the first time we're interacting. And just for everybody watching in the audience, my name is Easy, and it's always been that.
Yeah. Sounds like I just became Tubin. So
yeah. I have an entire chat on Facebook that can prove that right now.
That what?
Our conversation with Liberty Revolt today.
Oh, yeah. I was saying, I mean, at this point in my life, I need to start finding a way to make money, and I am sick of giving random hand jobs. I'm just being honest. I'm kidding. I'm not giving any random.
Well, OnlyFans is not the only option. I'll just put that out there.
Conservative beggar is what I am. That's what I am. If anybody had a chance to watch my video earlier today on, well, that's a weird transition if I'm going to say that. If anybody had a chance to watch the blunt force logic I talked about, and we can mention NCAA. I actually looked up more about the NCAA's Supreme Court ruling today that happened yesterday. It's a little bit more confusing and convoluted than I thought, but I had an interesting video about the NCAA and how I was debating whether or not I was going to discuss it or not, because at one point I was like, do I still want to work, for the NCAA? And I realized that I've probably moved on from that in my life. Why do I care? It needs to be spoken. So I was replaced. I mentioned it. I was replaced at the College World Series. I still believe, even though that wasn't part of the conversation I had with the NCAA, I was replaced because according to them, which I find ironic and amazing that they said it during the phone call, due to diversity needs. And I went to one of the College World Series games. The new MC is a black guy. He's very good. I've got no issues with his talent. Different than I am, but very good. But they mentioned in the phone call, which I recorded, that they needed to make diversity higher, and they could pay him less because he's a local. I was never paid by any way but a local because I stayed there locally. So I was just paid higher. So they essentially took the white guy away and then hired a black guy and then paid him less. I'll let that sink in.
Sounds like affirmative action in super great action.
No. He had a coupon. They used the coupon.
Damn.
Oh, man.
Damn.
So crazy. I wonder if, like, when she was saying that to me on the phone, if that didn't make her go, probably shouldn't say that. Which, ironically, I don't think that's the reason I was hired. I really don't. I think it was because my political posting. But the fact that
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the fact that they're literally trying to avoid the reason why I was blocked on Facebook and ignored on Facebook, which is probably based on my political posting, and they're avoiding that to say that they are hiring a black person to replace me so they could pay him less. I think that that's the amazing part.
I wonder what Michelle would think about this.
Well, that's not 40 acres or a mule, and so it can't
or
be
Velveeta.
considered.
I wonder what Velveeta would think about this.
No, I was thinking of Velveeta too. Yeah. I couldn't remember her name. Like, what do we call her?
It's just a den. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
God.
So, did anybody actually look up, because I forgot to mention this before the show, did anybody look up what's going on with the NCAA and the Supreme Court?
Players
I've looked
about
into
to
it a
get
little bit.
pizza.
I've followed it throughout the last few years, as this has been an issue that's worked its way through many different courts.
Yeah.
I'm kind of split on it. I think that athletes are recruited just like anybody else in any other type of league. I have a couple of friends who played in the NCAA and were potential high draft picks. And never got a dime out of basketball and have ended up playing in European leagues and that kind of stuff. So I'm split on the issue in the sense that I think if you're going to go to school and have a full docket of classes, that to ask you to perform at a professional athlete's level and carry a full load of schoolwork is... I think that's too much. I think that's asking too much of an unpaid athlete. That being said, I think there's better concessions that could be made than the ones that they're currently looking at, which would be endorsements and those types of things specifically. I'm more of the mind that they're better compensated by having either less credits needed in a single semester, or something that would allow them to have, particularly since it is a school resource that's being used to bring them in. I think it's important to recognize that they are bringing tremendous revenue to these schools. It's not like they're bringing just a few $100 or $1,000,
millions. They're bringing big,
and a lot of these people are bringing in millions of dollars before their name is even worth 1 cent. And so I would caution everybody looking into this situation to understand that there's probably better ways to compensate a college kid than with, endorsement money. I think that's kind of a ludicrous.
But that's the thing. So that's the misconception. So I actually looked at the ruling. The ruling is actually a pre-ruling to the fact that there needs to be compensation of some kind, and they actually are very specific right now, saying that it's non-monetary compensation.
Well, so the issue, and this is how they've gotten around it for many years, is that people will pick up endorsements. It's very this is the absolute way people get paid during college. They pick up an endorsement that does not pay them until draft day. Now, what they can do is under their subsidiaries, under their 401c3s or other nonprofit entities, they can donate to these student athletes. So oftentimes you'll see, nights out, cars bought, rooms paid for, and these are gifted typically through a fundraiser or a booster, but that's somebody directly paying typically through the college or some sort of potential down the line deal. And so I think it's interesting that people want to not give them monetized elements, but then still want to give them all of the whether it's land ownership or vehicle ownership. Maybe depreciating assets aren't as great, but they are assets. And so at some level, we are talking on that money aspect. And so I would think it would behoove the student to be given better resources to better pass their classes, potentially putting them in peer partner groups or specific cohorts that work together through their entire college degree. And maybe even extending them to a 5th year in order to get a degree required.
Yeah.
In order to make up potential credits. There are lots of ways I think it can be looked at.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Kaecey. Yeah.
Here's a flaw in what you're talking about, though. So this is where I think we need to separate the NCAA and base of level of the sport in contribution of money to the college. The reason why I say this is NCAA basketball, NCAA football bring in 80% of the money to the college from sports. The other 20% is all of the other sports, tennis, lacrosse, etc., gymnastics, all of that. And so if we were actually going to be looking at this and going through it, when you look at the basketball and the football, Like baseball is not even talked about. I know, Russo, that's a sensitive topic with you because I don't like
Very
it.
good.
But
I'm just. Is anybody paying attention to how high Soonie is right now? She's like doing weird. She's flaring her nostrils, blinking her eyes, and then she started dancing, and then she caught herself. She was like, and then she looked and she's like, oh shit. Oh my god! So look at Rose.
Look, she's back. She's focused. She's ready to go.
All right, we gotta go through this topic quick because it's not engaging enough.
Clearly not for Soonie. No, but overall, if you go and look at the schools at the colleges, like for example, University of Utah here, they have a dedicated building for just University of Utah football that has dedicated tutoring and all of that for just the football players, not for the other sports.
Right.
And so they already get everything you're talking about. Along with a lot of these players already got a full ride scholarship in the first place.
So my only argument in saying that there is one to be had is 4 years of this kind of work on a person's body. There isn't necessarily a number that, like, this is why you have so many people going pro at such a young age, is because there is an expiration date on the goods and services that they can provide. So like any smart business owner, they're going to get in as early as they can and move through that business as quickly as they can, take what they can get out of it, and put that hopefully somewhere in there.
And 95% of the athletes will never go pro. Fact is, the NCAA has taken advantage of athletes too long. The way that they're going to correct it, because it's going to be up to the NCAA, it's going to be a shitty plan the same way, which is going to be still compensating those that are at the highest level and not allowing others to succeed in terms of getting that payment that go through the same stuff. So this is almost like a little communist type concept that I actually believe in, that the NCAA players, first off, are not allowed to even have a job in many ways because it's seemed as bribery. So it's a broken system. We're going to see what happens. But ultimately, I'm just glad that the NCAA lost.
What if, similarly to the NFL, they were to pay for specifically TBI and also ligament specific ailments in future? Like that was just something that part of your package to come to college was to have a long-term medical plan that paid for these because they are expensive. At some point, those surgeries can run up into the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and sometimes. Yeah,
so absolutely.
I would argue that would be one financial basis in which we could maybe find common ground on.
If not going into the professional league, absolutely. If they go into a professional league,
and then they get that insurance, that makes sense.
That's denied. Absolutely.
Yeah, all 1%. All right, so
all the world issues over here.
This just came up. McAfee. That news is coming. If anybody has not seen, what's the name of the? Do you know who Soonie? Do you know who McAfee is? The guy that. Yeah. Has anybody seen the documentary?
Yep, I watched it.
Oh my god,
it's absolutely insane.
So good.
It was really good.
I watched it tonight.
You haven't seen it, Kaecey?
No,
it's good.
Shut the F up. It's so good.
Really
and now
good.
the fact that he passed, I mean, his whole life is sketchy. So this is, that's super interesting.
He's the guy that founded McAfee antivirus, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Of course, the worst antivirus on the planet. Of course it's sketchy. People spending $60 a year to buy it to think they're protected and they're not.
Not quite what the documentary is about. It's even worse.
Not at all.
The guy is
out for many years in the computer world.
Yo, he's the modern day extra like flamboyant Scarface.
I was gonna say like Howard Hughes too. Like I was gonna say the modern day something. Like he's
whoever's comment that was, he got Breitbarted because supposedly he had a whole bunch of dirt on the government, claimed he had it, didn't release it, just like Breitbart did, and he's dead. That's exactly how it happens. You get your dirt, release it. Don't say anything.
I'm gonna create a viral video, and Soonie, you're gonna do it after me. I'm not gonna say what it is, but I think all conservatives are gonna do this. I'm gonna start a trend. I'm gonna start 38-year-old white dude's gonna start a viral trend. I'm telling you, mark my words.
I'm ready. Hey, listen, Subway's tuna is not actually tuna.
Oh yeah, I think we can talk about that too. That's absolutely fucking disturbing because I've actually gotten. I like Subway too. I'm like, I'm gonna get something not as processed.
That's me. I'm gonna get something decent.
It's so processed that they don't know what the fuck it is. It's so processed they don't know.
There is a theory that when cooked, tuna loses its DNA structure and therefore is non-traceable. I will put that out there, but I don't believe it to be true.
This gentleman works for the government of the United States of America. He is full of complete and utter garbage.
CIA, baby.
Well, you are in California. You've learned
Y'all
from
better
the
stop
past.
eating Subway, man. Hey, look, I was tempted to go to Subway last night. I'm like, I want to eat something real quick. I don't want to cook.
Oh.
And then I saw this and I was like, hell nah, I'm good.
Just think, if their tuna's that bad, how processed and crappy is all their other processed
Hey, they got in
meat?
trouble for their bread. Do you remember that?
No,
Yeah.
what happened?
They have plastic in their bread. I give Emily shit for it all the time.
They have plastic in their bread?
Yes.
How?
Hey, mind you, this happened in California restaurants. California Subways, just
Guys,
Los Angeles.
If you start getting plastic garbage bags at the grocery store and eat them, you're going to look like Jared representing Subway.
Yeah, well, yeah. Him and his 10-year-olds with him. You know, can I tell you something? I met somebody that had a conversation with him. Like, it was somebody that had hung out with him a couple times. The dude was sick. He legit doesn't have the bone that he thought what he was doing was wrong. Honest to God, like, the guy that he was with was like, I don't know when people are going to find this out, but this is screwed up. Like, he was just like, well, it's illegal in the United States, so I go to other countries. Why is that a problem? It's legal there. Just because it was legal, he thought it was okay to be with underage women. The guy was sick. Okay, 2 questions. There's people that keep talking. What did Biden threaten the United?
You want to see?
Yeah.
Biden
Yeah,
is a fucking.
Bro, he doesn't remember what happened 10 minutes ago. I can't.
I have to
even keep
woosah when it comes to him because this man is like blatantly racist. Okay, that's the number one thing that bothers me. But the fact that he does not respect American citizens whatsoever is absurd, and he's still in office. Nobody's starting articles of impeachment. Republicans too. I'm just saying, you have a case with this video. Sorry to yell, but
all right, you got
this
it.
shit pissed me off, bro.
Real quick, Tabitha wants the Italian BMT. I bet you do. You
Hey,
pervert.
before you pull it up, who wants to bet she didn't share the audio?
She is stoned. Let's try.
I'll take that bet.
The Second Amendment from the day limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon.
Listen.
The Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Those who say the blood of patriots, you know, and all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government. Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there never been, if you want to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. The point is that there's always been the ability to rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it.
What?
What was he talking? Can I get a translation?
I'm dumb as fuck, and I don't know what I'm
want to
talking
go
about.
after the government.
Somebody gave me a shot so I could
cannons and
stay in here for 10
F-15s.
minutes.
Look, F-15s. Listen, he saw it a touch. F-15s are about to be completely obsolete. Okay, they're getting rid of the 15s. I don't know what he's talking about, and I don't know what person can own a cannon. And like, this is what you need to go after the government. What?
And honestly, who wants a cannon when going after the government or for self-defense?
So to be clear,
weapon.
Is he? So this is a lot. Is he going against the common man Second Amendment supporters' argument that the reason why we're allowed to bear arms is so that in case the government takes us over, we're able to protect ourselves, which is originally what that amendment was written over. So he's essentially taking that and saying, so that thought process doesn't work because we would destroy you. Is that kind of what he's saying? Oh, okay. It
was a threat. It was an indirect threat. Listen, you got that, Bruce. So we all got that. But look at the average American. Do you think they heard what he said?
No.
They don't even know their constitutional rights at this point.
Wow.
Joe Biden is a dictator. Everybody blamed Trump and accused Trump of being a dictator. This guy's a dictator, man.
Let's not
get a shot and put a mask
candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Manchurian Candidate, I will give you that. I just watched that movie.
I don't think he's a dictator. I don't think he has a fucking clue what he's doing on a day-to-day basis.
It was a threat.
Maybe Yeah, I think that was somebody who postured, put that on the teleprompter and said, say these words because it will scare the shit out of reasonable people who know something or a thing or two about history. Like, to your point, it was a closeted threat. He didn't come out and say, well, we're going to nuke you if you don't give up your weapons. But he did say by sleight of hand, like, if you didn't, we'd fuck you up.
Dog whistle. Dog whistle.
Molan Labe.
Dog whistle.
Molan Labe.
Let's not forget, he was the one that also said, the government is we the people.
Wait, what did he just say recently?
Can you smell what the idiot is cooking?
Recently.
That's good. I want to do a voiceover with The Rock, like using, can you smell what the idiot is cooking? And then just have Biden with his eyebrow up and his sunglasses.
I mean, just to be serious for 2 seconds, because I know I was just joking around. There's a reason that police are under attack, man. They're being blatant about, if you come after the government, we will destroy you. If you think you're going to get these weapons, we will destroy you. They're getting rid of cops. Mm-hmm. The UN is going to take over, and we're going to be fucked.
And what did we learn about the military from Kevin? He said most of the people in the military that are on the ground or fighting, etc., is conservative, and they have the values where they're protecting. But the intelligence side is predominantly Democrat and liberal. So the ones that know everything, that are above the pay grade of those that are fighting the fight on the ground.
I don't care. Yep. Bring it. There are more guns than there are people in this country.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Sorry, I had to get serious.
No,
I know we're playing, but this is the leader of the free world, all right? And other countries are looking at what this idiot is saying. Russia, China. China already threatened us again.
China.
Well, look at what they've done is they've federalized their police. Yeah. So, look at what they just did this in Hong Kong. Literally last night, they shut down the only free speech platform left in the entire region. There is no more free speech in Hong Kong. People were talking about 2 years ago, oh, that will never happen. It would never, ever happen. Now they're encroaching on Taiwan. They want absolute power.
Yep.
And I will just say this is that Joe has seemingly maybe some blow art debts that need to be paid off. And I can't think of a better way than making headway for your friends that have increased your lifestyle by, who knows how many millions and millions of dollars.
Say thank you to a service member, man. I am right here next to Taiwan. I'm right across the street from China. Please say thank you and appreciate your service members, bro, because if shit hits the fan, they are our last line of defense, especially the ones that believe in, well, they take an oath. All right. You respect the position, not the man, period. There's an oath to defend the Constitution. Say thank you and say prayers for these guys.
Yeah. And what's coming is scary. I really do. Yeah. I do believe that. I mean, I was having this conversation on a group text with, I think, all of you guys about a week ago. And I'm just like,
Civil War, I remember.
Yeah, it's the information is now out there. The stuff that we were saying about, separating society based on vaccination. This is everything that I said in March of 2020 and April of 2020. And now it's happening. And and they're like, yeah, but it's for our benefit. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then you show things like what I showed yesterday about Fauci blatantly using fear tactics, and people are like, but the Delta variant. I'm like, okay, but then look at this statistic with the Delta variant. It makes no sense. It's a scare tactic.
Yep.
But I do what I'm told. And it's like, this is why I feel like there is no bit of information anymore that can awaken the mass amount of people. And it's terrifying. Yeah. And I don't know what it's going to come to. And honestly, I think the military is going to be split too, because some of them I believe will be 100%. I do what I'm told, because that is essentially the stereotype of the military. And then there's going to be those that are like, nope. And then they're going to be fighting, and they're supposed to be protecting us. Meanwhile, China and Russia over there, like, when do we jump in?
Yeah,
like it's
for sure.
We're weakening ourselves, and Biden is the head of the snake. He doesn't even know that he's a snake. He doesn't really know where he is. But the fact that he's being used and propagated is fucking terrifying.
Dementia, man.
Great transition. New Jersey, they're going to just start knocking on your door and finding out if you're
Yeah,
vaccinated.
did you get that? I sent it over in the private
Yeah, I did.
chat. I don't know if it opened, but
Yeah, so
I'll
this
just kind
is
of give an intro to it if you don't mind, real quick.
No,
I kinda
yeah,
read
you do
through
it. Yeah, go for
So in New Jersey, this is actually not the first place. As I kind of Google listed it, this is not the first place, but it is kind of the first, I think, getting some national attention. In essence, what they're going to be doing is trying to get to 70% of inoculation is what they're looking to shoot to do. And because there is tremendous resistance from a lot of people for, I think, some very good reasons, there seems to be a concerted effort to basically what they're going to go do around and do is bribe people, give them the opportunity to get it right there at their home on site, set up appointments for them to do it in the future. So for me, this is a huge overreach. If I didn't ask a government agency to be there and they don't have any lawful or legal reason to be, then they can fuck off my property. But at the same time, this is a huge concern because of, to the point where we were just talking, look at all of the other societal transitions that are taking place at the same time. And I'll just add one more to kind of the military aspect is the feminization of our military is a huge concern to me because any country that's looking to make a move on us is going to love the shit out of that.
No, agreed. And I think that it's, how did he even find a squeaky toy? I thought I got rid of all of them.
I guess my point is we have people willing to put up with this in their homes right now, where the government is coming and knocking and asking for verification or asking you to do something without you having complete knowledge about what they're wanting.
So that's my question. So if somebody says, like us, and says, no, thank you, I am not going to do it. I mean, I know that right now, as the system goes, they're not allowed to force it on the person, but are they going to shame and guilt, or what? Like, what comes next? Is it really just going to be like, nope, all right, well, big gulp, say, catch you later? Like, what are they allowed to do?
So my concern is that this is going to be the scarlet letter that people are going to have to wear for the rest of their lives. They're not going to come tag your door and make it known, I think, to your neighbor. That you're somebody who doesn't choose to participate. But what they very might well do is collect your information in, for example, hiring databases, in background checks, in passport applications. And so one way or another, we're shooting towards a database full of people who have and have not. Wow. So whether they want to side with this group or that group, it really is irrelevant at that point. It's just the vast amount of numbers that they're looking at and saying, what's our best dice?
Well, think about our government, right? Our government has never, I shouldn't say never. Hasn't recently in the last 100 years has been in the favor of the American people. They have been in it for themselves, right? So what would be the point of going and knocking on people's doors and being like, hey, I want you to take this vaccine. Have you taken this vaccine? No. Okay. Would you like to take this vaccine? No. Okay. And then they're going to document everything and then use it later. We know our government. They do those things. And I feel bad for these people doing this job that they're going to get asked to do because they don't want to do it either. I guarantee it.
Most of them don't. Some of them might.
Yeah. And so these
people have an upcoming
CPS
trial. Guess what's going to come into focus?
Correct. And that's what I was going to get to is you're going to run into problems with schooling. You're going to run into problems with divorce when you file for divorce, and you're going to have some issues there. You're going to have files and all kinds of documentation battles that you're going to have to do. And it sucks. It's no fun. Yeah. And this is where this information, like when we start talking about how corrupt and bad our government is, it's no fun. And so we gotta deal with those things, and it sucks. Yeah. And unfortunately, these are things that people just need to be aware of, and let's just make sure we do what we can.
You know what else we have to deal with? Crazy liberals with purple pink hair. Which is the segue to the next video. A woman, the famed white liberal that Malcolm X talked about, preaching the importance of critical race theory with pink hair.
Yes.
Okay. Who's ready? Who's coming with me?
I'm so excited. She should run for Congress.
Yeah, she should. All right, let me know if I hit the audio button.
Oh,
Look at
God.
those arms, man. You haven't
Oh, wait.
muted. You have to
Show them
unmute
how to be the change we wish to see
Is
in
it
the
good?
world.
it.
We must teach our children the truth about the past and then show them how to be the change we wish to see in the world.
Don't use my
As
line.
members of the white community,
Fact.
we have got to stop pushing the agenda that diversity and truth in education is all about indoctrination, shaming, or placing guilt at the feet of white people.
Shut the
Occupy
fuck
Democrats
up, bro.
nails it again. So sickening. She's still wearing a mask too.
Good evening, board members. My name is Melanie Moore. I am the parent of a 3rd and 4th grader in District 2, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you
Christine,
this
reach
evening.
out to this lady.
The issue I would like to address is the need for equitable education in all
Yes.
areas. But first, I'd like to share a little
Please.
something personal. I struggle with depression. I have for many years.
We could tell by your
Oh,
hair.
no
I've gone to
wonder.
counselors throughout the years, and one of the first things they ask me is, tell me about your family of origin. Tell me about your past. What happened to you in your past that is causing the current trauma and
Oh, I
pain you're
cannot.
feeling?
I cannot. I cannot.
In the same
I
way,
have
our
to go.
country cannot begin to
I'm
heal
muting
until we
myself.
deal with the pain, trauma, and hurt from our past. We must teach our children the truth about the past and then show them how to be the change we wish to see in the world. We can help them connect the dots from the awful
Do you notice the black woman in the background texting like this white chick in front of me is crazy?
events of the past to the current issues that face our country so that real change can happen. As members of the white community, we have got to stop pushing the agenda that diversity and truth in education is all about indoctrination, shaming, or placing guilt at the feet of white people.
This woman, by the way, has clearly never once actually educated herself on what CRT is. She is still under the myth and belief system that CRT is Black history, and it's 100% not even fucking close.
No one is asking you to get up and place your head on the chopping block for the wrongs of the past. People are simply asking for their stories to be heard and taught as ours have been for generations. I would not allow my children to wallow in anger, pain, and self-pity. I would do all I could to help them to be the very best versions of themselves, even if it hurts to point out some painful truths about their behavior. In the same way, we have got to be honest with ourselves and admit that systemic racism is real, that this country
Fuck
was
you,
created and
bro.
prospered under the ideals of white supremacy, and that we are responsible for righting the wrongs of our forefathers. We did
Why are we responsible
Woo!
for fixing slavery that had nothing to do with the predominance of white people in this country? We are responsible for being good to each other, giving each other opportunity. But how am I supposed to make up for my past? I don't make up for a past,
Here-
not my past, but another past.
More importantly, why are you telling Black people what they need? What we need to hear about slavery and all the bad things that happen to us to fix what's wrong? Yo, I'm telling you, it's time to put white women like her in their fucking place, bro. Sit down and get back in your lane because you are way out of it. Any Black person that's in the crowd, bro, you all are cowards, man. I would have told her off and where to go real quick.
As I said yesterday, I have yet to see a single Black person, aside from on mainstream media, talk about how amazing CRT is. Not a single one. I want to see this woman stand up to the guy talking about how is there systemic racism right now when I have 2 medical degrees. Why don't we teach? I want to see them have a conversation.
did not create this mess, but we are the ones that have to clean it up, starting with honest, equitable education practices now that will teach our children the hard truths about our past so that they
Why are we spending time on equitable education by teaching this instead of investing in inner city schools and actually just making them have good teachers, good math programs, etc.? Why are we so fucking worried about this wannabe Black history? Instead, it's under the guise of critical race theory. It's literally the biggest waste of money, and it's a scam. And white liberals like this that are too fucking clueless to understand what's really going on are the ones at the forefront of this complete misinformation that's going to continue to keep the Black community down.
they can create a better future. I understand that change is hard, but it's
Shut
got to
the
come.
fuck up, bro. I'm gonna trick
Racism is
this
alive
bitch
and well in this
on our way
country.
out.
It's seen in the groups of white men with torches chanting, "You will not replace us," to the fact that in 2021, we still don't
Where
have
are
a federal
people-
anti-lynching hate
Hold on.
bill in this
I got to
country.
play that again.
It's seen in the groups of white men with
Well,
torches
let's go
for a better
back.
future. I understand that change is hard, but it's got to come. Racism is alive and well in this country. It's seen in the groups of white men with torches chanting, "You will not replace us," to the fact that in 2021, we still don't have a federal anti-lynching hate crime law.
Okay, I gotta
Nobody's
stop
being
there.
lynched.
That's
Nobody
the point.
is being lynched.
Why do you create a law for something that doesn't happen? That's why there's not a fucking law. And then she talked about white men with torches. What is she and people are applauding this woman. They think that what is she talking about?
Is there any way we can find out who she is?
I'm sure.
I think she says at the beginning.
It's almost done. It's almost done. Hold on.
We need to know better, and then we need to do better. Happy Pride, happy early Juneteenth.
What? Oh, you
Happy
lost
Pride.
me there. Listen.
That's where she lost you?
Listen.
Really? That's where she lost you?
Nah, she lost me at the beginning when she felt like she could speak for black people and you ain't black. I got a problem with that, bro. I have a problem with that. I cannot stand virtue signaling white people. You guys are the epitome of true racists. I'm telling you, man, whether you do it on the right or left, man, when you virtue signal and you say things and you hop on bandwagons I want to help black people feel included. I want to help them feel better. Yo, just leave us alone. That's what Malcolm X said. Leave us alone. It only gets fixed when it comes to us. We have to fix this. We have to come to terms with how we are behaving, bro. Leave us alone. Please. This is insanity. Where is any black person being lynched? Can we get a law for black on black crime? Can we get a law passed on that? How about the kids that are growing up with gangs? Shooting them up. Let's ask Shelly. Can we get a law for those things? We're going to get a law for imaginary things that are not happening in 2021. That's great. Thank you.
So here's the thing. I think Ken's onto it. When we start talking about this lady, where she's experiencing it, maybe it is the Charlie and Chocolate Factory, because she's the Oompa Loompa that's coming from the backside. So maybe that's where the problem is. Maybe that's where we need to pass some laws.
None of it makes sense, and all it is you got people like Occupy Democrats that has, let's see how many thousand, 218,000 views. Probably like 9,200 reactions. People are watching this thinking, oh my God, what a hero. And people now think that like all of a sudden in their head, they're going to use this in another conversation, be like, bro, hold on. Excuse me, Steve, I don't know if you know this, but there's literally there's like people with like picks and torches, and they're going through towns. Like, you don't realize how big of an issue this is. Like, they're trying to burn down black people's houses. Like, now people are under this impression that there are asshats out there that are trying to be the KKK of the 1950s, and it's still a thing today. And that's going to then trickle down to 7-year-old black kids that are now going, oh my God, I lived in an oppressed society. It's a clusterfuck of misinformation that is leading to the just absolute insanity of this country and people just being dumber because of it. Yeah, that's my Tyler G.
I think one of the hugest issues we have around our history is not understanding it in a contextualized way. We left Britain and came over here as a colony and decided, fuck these guys, they don't have it right, we think we can do it better. It took nearly 100 years from the time when they came here by commission to the time when we declared our independence. And during that time, the biggest thing that drives me crazy about CRT is it fails to talk about the initial enslavement issues that were there. It wants to talk right at the inflection point of where America, the idea, was being formulated. It does not start in history in Africa with traditionally black slave traders trading their slaves, particularly from villages that they had conquered, to the British crown. And so my frustration with this is simply that it is historically incorrect in such a fashion, in such a disproportionate fashion, that what it does is it takes about I think there was something in the neighborhood of like 400 slaves or something like that were ultimately brought to the States during this period of time. But there was like 20,000 that were being trafficked all over the British Crown, all over the world at the same exact time. So again, my numbers may be off. I'll have to go and look at those things. But the proportion in which we received slaves was so minuscule in comparison to what the entire British Empire was doing at the time. So if people want to teach CRT, they're going to need to go pitch this to the British Crown and get approval from the Queen in order to teach it there first. And then we can talk about how America had a play in it. But until that day comes, and I don't think it ever will, these people are batshit crazy. They literally think slavery began with the United States, not even seeing the disparaging of almost 160 years difference between when they landed on this continent and when ultimately we declared our independence from the British Crown, and the incremental opportunities that have been created ever since then for that particular segment of people. But it is a lie, and it is built off of an untrue story that I think people don't have a great back history to. And it's important to recognize this was the British Crown. This was not America. This was not the idea that America was built on. It was an accepted and widely known culture that the British Crown used that ultimately became the fundamental building blocks of every colony they set up around the world.
Thank you, Professor. All right. So speaking of virtue signaling, and then we're going to wrap it up. Well, if anybody, we'll go to virtue signaling, and then we'll wrap it with.
I got a video I want to show. Not now.
Go ahead.
We can do it after.
No, go ahead. Is it related?
No.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to speed through this. What is the benefits of and equity charge? A Broder's pasta bar. I'm going to not read the whole thing, but there is a pasta bar restaurant in Minnesota that is essentially adding a minimum tip, which I get it. And unfortunately, it's against the law. So they found a way to do two things. They found a way to virtue signal one and also break the law by having a mandatory tip. But they're doing it under the guise of equity because they say, in general, Black or brown servers receive less tips than Caucasian servers. And there's a gender bias as well. So they've essentially instituted a 15% charge that is not a gratuity so that they could pay their staff a higher hourly rate, which also, now that I'm thinking this as somebody that worked in a restaurant, I think this is also bullshit because people now are going to be like, well, I would have given 20, but I'm forced to give 15. So they're probably not going to give as much. It's going to be a little harder to convince, but they are literally doing this based on, and by the way, they've changed all their like logos on the pages to like light brown, like cream brown and regular brown. It's fantastic. So they're essentially saying that they're upping the minimum wage for their employees to 16, 18. They're making the wage of the kitchen workers higher. Which is, again, I get it. They're saying that they're working harder, but in the real world, somebody that has talented sales skills, the ability to talk to people, typically are going to get paid a little bit more. And now they're going to be hoping that people tip above the top amount. I'm going to tell you, $16 an hour when I worked at decent restaurants when I was younger is garbage. I would be making a hell of a lot more than that, than $16 an hour. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Barbara missed this. It is a place called Broder's Pasta Bar that now has it says Black and brown servers receive less tips than Caucasians. What do you think? What do you think of this new?
Well, yeah. The first thing I know every time I go into a restaurant, I request a white server, a white cook, and then I'll tip them 25%. But if I get told no and I got to have a black cook or a Mexican server, no, I'll give them $3.
Well, I actually always wanted.
Everybody goes to restaurants, right?
I would, if this is the case, I would have always wanted a person of color to be my server so that I could just tip them less naturally. This is the biggest hot garbage in history. Soonie, you said you had was it your brother, your cousin, who worked in a restaurant?
My husband.
Your husband worked in a restaurant, and what did he used to say?
Oh man, there's black folks coming. I know I'm not about to get a tip.
I think that they got the wrong information in this article because in my 10 years working in restaurants, the typical rule of thumb was minorities and foreigners were the worst tippers. Foreigners were the worst tippers because in their countries, they have a higher minimum wage and they typically tip 5 to 10% at most. Or sometimes it's even included in the bill. And they don't understand American customs that half of the restaurant employees are making $3 an hour plus tips when they are the staff. So that was why the Europeans tip like crap. And then for some odd reason, as a whole, black people were just not good tippers. That's not me being racist. That's me just saying it how it is in restaurants. But somehow they've spun this, to create a minimum wage, which honestly, I don't necessarily disagree with what they're doing here. I think that this is a clever idea. But I'm going to disagree. I had some elderly people that used to tip the shit out of me. I am pretty popular among 60-year-old women. That's not necessarily elderly. So maybe that's it. I'm going to get yelled at. Soonie, what is that face for? Anyways, regardless. So ultimately it was one of those things where black people didn't tip well. Again, I don't know why. I don't know what Monica, I'm not speaking for all, but I'm just saying that ultimately that was the general consensus at restaurants. And they are finding a way to use racial equity right now and virtue signal to undercut the law, and it's completely being accepted.
So I find this. Go ahead, Cindy. Sorry.
No, I'm taking this all in.
I think it's a terrible business decision, right? So I was thinking about how this works. So if you're going, the reason that the service industry works so well is because the establishment owner can run high margins, so that when there are soft times, they can essentially get through it. And so the restaurant business is very interesting in that servers are typically in somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 to $4 an hour. But that's because of typically the compensation that comes in assistance to that pushes them well above the threshold of a minimum wage. If I'm looking at this from a business owner standpoint, I actually think this is a terrible decision because it automatically is going to build, to your point, I think somebody said earlier that, I think people will tip less. You're going to build in a 15% overhead immediately for every meal you cook for people. So you're going to get less customer retention. You're going to have less customer loyalty. You're immediately going to have a knock of people who are going to say, I disagree with this decision completely. I will not patron your establishment any further. And I think furthermore, it does a disservice to the workers there. They're not going to see the elaborate tips throughout the day because people are going to say, well, it says 15% is already built in. I don't have to give shit more.
Yeah, I think it's bullshit. All right.
And people are bad at math. So sometimes people think 15% is 35. So,
Yeah. And they've made, it's all a bunch of whatever. It's virtue signaling. It's bullshit. Let's end. Go ahead. Go ahead, Soonie. Right?
So I don't know if you guys seen this. I remember this video, and then for some reason when she was speaking about lynching, it sent me on a quest to find this video. Did you guys see the video that happened in New York, the shooting with the kids involved? Did you see it?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Has anybody seen it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this is a reality for young black children in America. Okay? It's not fucking lynching. We don't get lynched. We get shot in broad daylight walking down the street. Now, these kids weren't shot, thank God. But look at this. This is a reality for young black kids, Latinos, Mexicans. This. So virtue signaling Karens and everybody else in the world, when you want to talk about CRT, you want to talk about racism, you want to talk about lynching, go to the inner city and see what we're dealing with. If you're not going to do that, then please shut up, man. Like, seriously, I'm not even playing at this point in the show. Shut up. Talk about the things that matter. They are now going to have to suffer from this traumatic event, and the cycle continues. CRT my ass.
That guy's a bad shot and should shoot himself.
Yeah, I don't get what was happening there.
We'd probably miss.
I don't know how many times he missed him. He hit him a couple times. There's so many things wrong with that picture. Let's end it on the police note. Chicago Police Department retirements are soaring amid increased backlash. 363 CPD officers have retired this year. 363.
That's horrible. Like, how can you already deal with, excuse me, with an industry you can't get people to come into, and then you have this large amount mass exodus? Just not worth my life. I'm out, and I don't blame them one bit right now, because a lot of the citizens have their back, but they don't feel they have the backing of the people that actually support them in their job, and I don't blame them.
True.
But it's
No.
rough.
Yeah, I think this whole situation is kind of for me, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I hate to see police walk away from something, but I guess I'd rather see them walk away from unenforceable laws and say we're not going to do a job that doesn't allow us qualified immunity for particular circumstances, that doesn't protect us as workers to go out and do a dangerous job. So I understand the logic behind it. It is the saddest thing in the world. But it ultimately plays into, a larger agenda, which is if you can get rid of local police enforcement, you have to have some sort of state or federal enforcement to come in and police these areas. And that is my biggest concern when these officers who are held in high regard by, I think, predominant majority of their constituents and people around them just up and walk away from a job. It tells you that the malignant cancer that is in that society is, I hope, not irreparable, but
Yeah. Anyways, that's about all I got. Kaecey, you got anybody else want to talk about Chicago police officers? No. Yeah.
I love Shelly and Nick.
Yeah. It's sad to see what's going on, and it's sad that people aren't recognizing it, because guess what? When people start coming and knocking at the door for those vaccine cards, or where there's issues with the government, we no longer have a police force, as we said earlier, and that's terrifying. And they're pissing off the police force. The police force is the ones that would have had our backs.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems part of this really weird, stark game. And I agree, it started with Obama. This is where I started to get in trouble. Back 2016, this is where I put myself in this horrible spiral where I just called for accountability from Obama, and I was canceled for it and all these different things. And the guy held Michael Brown to be a hero and barely talked about the 5 police officers that died in Chicago. It's horrible.
Bro, I don't know who Walt and Margie is, but you have no freaking clue what you're talking about, because that was not black people shooting.
It was all Latinos.
So this is,
just leave it.
Yeah. And I in Walt and Margie's defense, the initial news was different, as we always know, because the news wanted it to be a race issue. Now, if it was a white person, it would have been number one about race, but there was a couple articles that did say it was originally a group of black gangs that shot whatever, but it was all Latino situation. But again, no white people were involved. Yet white supremacy, number one thing of, domestic terror. You know what the biggest domestic terror threat is? Crime by shitty people, period.
Yep.
Doesn't matter the race.
And Joe Biden.
Well, we have another problem. And so this other problem is some of these special people that we have to deal with all the time. And so let's go ahead and see what's going on at the airport.
Did you pull this from John?
Yeah. This is from my brother-in-law, which I was watching for a split second, and I was like, oh, we're going to so pull this up.
Let's hear it.
He is getting dressed at the airport, and let's just see what he puts on.
I'm not going to ruin it, but y'all are going to be surprised as hell.
What's happening? Oh, I saw somebody wearing one of these, and
They're Asian, man. They gotta be Asian.
They're Asian.
I saw somebody wearing one in DFW. No shit.
Full hazmat.
Oh man, just don't even come out of the house, bro. Damn. Look at her.
The ironic part is she done been sitting in the airport for a solid couple of minutes.
Yeah, so I'm going to put this on before I get on the plane. But screw walking through the airport and all of this other stuff. I'm just
Maybe
going to
it
worry
had to
about.
come off for security. Who knows? Like,
Look at Russo. Russo's
Come
done.
on.
He's like,
We
all
gotta
right.
end it. We had to end with a laugh. Everybody got too damn serious. We had to end with a laugh. Russo can't even laugh. Come on, man.
That one's a struggle. Like we are living in idiocracy, and if any, oh god, we are literally too stupid. Like even the smart people
Russo
that we have
went from
conversation
happy to real sad, like
And-
super fast.
like just let's just assume those people are really good at math. I don't know why I'm saying that, but let's just assume that these are really smart, intelligent, math-based people. That means they should also be able to do science a little bit too, and they're choosing to not. So,
Hey, they're going to be safer on the planes. They don't have to shower tomorrow. They're going to be okay. It will keep everything in.
they still have to shower tomorrow.
No, because it will keep it all in. They bought them
Exactly, all that moisture and heat. It's gonna smell like Mugu Guy Pan down below.
Hey, we're not really talking about logic here. You are taking it to a logical scenario. We are not doing that.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm looking at all these guys. Like if you go to God in Costa Rica, they were wearing the face shields a lot. It's like it's not just America. Every government in the world is pretty much just scared the shit out of their citizens. Anyways,
Muzzle is real.
Yeah. All right. Easy E, wrap it up. What do you got?
Great fun with you guys tonight. I think people need to use their logic when it comes to common sense issues. See a lot of people throwing that up and caution to the wind because somebody told me it was the right thing to do. I encourage everybody to do a little bit of their own research, a little bit of their own homework. Talk with your physicians, with your family members about your health. Talk to them about your mental health, I think is a good topic to cover tonight, considering some things we've seen. And ultimately, bring the truth to people. Don't let them railroad you with fancy words and ideology that doesn't have to be true. That's it.
Kaecey.
Everybody needs to know and just remember the government is here to protect you and serve you. So they will always do everything in your best interests. Just put on your masks, stay in your house until we come and ask if you took your vaccine. If not, we'll bring it to you. Just know government will always take care of you. They are going to be your protectors and providers. Starting on July 15th, you will start getting paychecks from them. So everything will be okay.
Is that it?
Yes.
And
And
Then
And as Kaecey would like to say, 2022 is right around the corner.
Remember, folks.
Remember,
we already
folks.
had the seriousness already. We already had 30 minutes of that. I was wanting to know.
Soonie, what do you got?
man, just people just need to use their brains, man. That's it. Just think about stuff. And 2022 is important, but I don't even know how much hope I have for that. Looking at people put on hazmat suits, so I feel like this. Wow,
I'm gonna wrap. Are you sorry? I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
it's okay. I'm black. I know. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Anyways, I don't know if anybody saw. To pay attention to the hypocrisy is the one thing that I think that eventually over time, if you call it out with your friends, that is going to be the way that you start winning people over to go, oh, fuck. AOC today just did this whole post like, maybe I'm just a leftist extremist, but I think the filibuster is complete and utter garbage because they're mad about the voting rights bill, which the only reason they're caring about that with voting rights is because they need to find a way to make sure that they stay in power and they need to make sure that that bill passes. But the Republicans used the filibuster to make sure that didn't happen. Fun fact, AOC has a post from 2018 where she's like, thank God that Nancy Pelosi killed the killed it with doing the filibuster and speaking through everything. So here's the deal. You can't be happy you can't be mad when you're the one that loses. You have to understand that your comments are going to come back and bite you in the ass. So if you support the filibuster when it works for you, that means you have to support the filibuster across the board, you dumb asshat. Lastly, Warren Buffett is leaving the Bill Gates, the Gates Foundation board. They're making it seem like it's completely nothing to see here, and it's potentially his
They really
retirement.
are.
He's getting older. It's bullshit.
Oh, they don't need me here, so I'm just gonna quit now.
Yeah,
Peter
anyways.
Daszak. Listen for that name in the next couple of weeks.
Exactly. That's smart. Anyways, guys, pay attention to what's going on because it's more than meets the eye. And the news stories that you see the most of, I'm going to give you a secret. They're the ones that they want us to see.
Russo, what the hell? Why don't you have pants on?
Because pants
Dude.
are overrated.
Tobin over here.
Eric, were you high tonight?
Of course.
You were so high. You were so high that you were boring Soonie.
Did you just call
I
Eric
know,
hot?
and she's high too, which is the crazy part. It should not have been a difficult thing.
I
started to
think
hit the
Blake's mom is
corn, I
right.
started to hit the nay-nay. I don't even dance on here, but I was like, I had to get my J real quick. And I'm not even high, by the way. This is just me.